it's just purely intuitive proof. It's just basic. I mean, I think any third grader can understand it. Is that if you look at the way that the buildings came down, that they exploded into this cloud of dust, and the cloud of dust just raced to the ground, and it took about 13 to 16 seconds for this cloud of dust to reach the ground, depending on whether you're looking at the top or the bottom of this cloud of dust. So 13 seconds and 16 seconds. But it took the same amount of time whether you're looking inside of the profile of the building, where the building was, or outside of the profile of the building, where this dust is falling through midair. So now it would take 9.2 seconds from a brick drop from the roof in a vacuum to reach the ground. But it took 13 to 16 seconds for this rubble and dust falling through the air and pieces of steel to reach the ground. So that means that air resistance, just air resistance, slowed down the descent of this rubble by about 50%. Now, if air could slow the fall of something by 50%, then shouldn't 1,000 vertical feet of these huge box columns and all these 240 perimeter columns, all this structure that's strong enough to survive an earthquake and hurricanes and whatnot, shouldn't that have at least slowed it down a few, several times more? Like, slowed it down to a few minutes or stopped it? I mean, it's just a complete non sequitur. But of course, engineers will quibble with that. They'll say, oh, there's some wiggle room in that. Maybe there's so much mass that it could have slowed, that it could have fallen really fast. Well, let's zoom in on this a little bit. Let's just look at the top of this descending pile of rubble. See, this top is basically flat. Here's the building. The building went up much higher than this, and the whole thing is just that this top is just coming down at the same speed, whether we're way outside the building, way out here 100 feet from the building, or 150 feet, or inside the profile of the building. It's just all falling at the same speed. So this had to be falling for quite a while, and yet it's falling just as fast where there's all this intact structure. So to accept this idea that these buildings fell down, you're basically having to accept the idea that steel has the same strength, the same resistance to stuff crushing, or to something passing through it as air. That's how simple it is. And so I'll just leave it at that, because